I think that one of the most common issues you'll notice I face, and let's be honest, you probably deal with it too, is that it takes way many more dollars than it should to actually figure out what works for you when you're buying new gear. When it comes to ND filters, I think I finally found it, and that's where are they? The NiSi JetMag Pros. Little dangly bit here. I think it's taken the manufacturers way too much time to figure this out, but I think they finally come up with creative ways to fix the problem of stuck filter threads. And I landed on the NiSi JetMags because they seem to have the best bang for buck option for my needs. And honestly, this kit has already paid for itself on a couple of jobs this year. Now, before I get into the use cases for this set, let's break down exactly what comes in the kit, because this alone makes a big difference in a working setup. One of the most common uses you're gonna be using your ND filters for is when you have uncontrolled light. So instead of shooting in the studio where I have complete control over my lighting, I figured I'd come outside and talk more about what actually comes in the kit that I bought. The nice thing when you're purchasing these on Amazon or other resellers is that you can buy different bundles depending on your needs. And my needs were getting the maximum amount of range in the ND system as I could. And so this kit came with your filter adapters from 67mm, 72mm, 77, and 82. So those are the most common filter thread sizes that you'll find in most mirrorless cameras. And so that worked out really well for me because these are mostly for my mirrorless cameras. If you follow the channel for a while, you know I have an FX6 that has built-in NDs, and 9 times out of 10, I don't need extra filtration for that camera unless it's an effect filter. So looking at the actual kit, the nice thing with this is that not only does it come with a really nice pouch, but it also comes with this kit with a front cap and back cap. And you're saying, Josh, how do they stand together? Magnets. Magnets are just some of the best things that people have found new uses for in the last 5 years. And they stay on, nice and secure, like a nice little filter sandwich. And if you're in a rush, you don't have to throw them back in the pouch. You can just throw them in your bag and you're good to go, just like that. Now this kit in particular comes with the Black Mist 1/8, comes with a variable ND of 1 to 5 stops, and then an additional 4-stop hard stop ND that you can add to your variable ND if you need to, which extends from your 1 to 5 to a 6 to 9 stop on those really bright days, especially on days not like today, but where you have snow on the ground, everything is a giant bounce. And then if you have a bluebird sunny day, you're gonna need those extra stops, especially if you're out, I don't know, shooting a ski or snowboard film in the mountains on a bluebird day. 6 to 9 will come in clutch for you for sure. But that's the really nice thing about that kit is that, again, lots come with it, magnetically sticks together. And so I've got the 24-70 on here right now, which is the 82mm filter thread. So we'll pop that out of the case, screw that on, probably just jump cut, and watch this. So obviously they're already magnetically stuck together. Now you've got all of your filters. So depending on what your needs are for a particular shot or scene, you can just stack whichever filters that you need. Obviously, they're not the only company doing this, but it's a very nice feature to have. And they do have a locking position on the filter to make sure that it's not gonna come off nearly as easily. Now, what I have in this kit are not near the extent of filters that NiSi has in their kit. They've got tons of other options out there. You can look at their website for a full list of options that they have, but this was essentially all that I needed for the style of shooting that I'm doing. Once again, it's all about what you actually need in your kit. There's plenty of filters that do cool things that I would never use, so I'm saving my money and not going out spending a whole bunch of extra on shit I'll never use. Now, it's not only a magnetic system, but there's one key feature that really sold me. The locking design uses a notch on both the filters and the adapters that locks the filter in place when the white line on the adapter lines up with the tab on the filter. And the great thing is that stacking feature applies to the locks as well. When you're on set, especially when time matters, being able to swap filters in seconds is huge. The system basically lets me work faster, stay in the flow instead of fumbling with gear. Still happens, but minimizes it. Now, if you're working with first and second ACs, just make sure that you give them a heads up how the system works before you just hand them filters, because otherwise they'll be looking for threads, or they won't stack it quite right. It won't be seated properly, and there's a chance that it can still pop out. So just make sure, tell them, make sure it's stuck on, it's even around, and you've got that notch lined up with the white line, and then you're locked in and secure. Now, in the kit that I purchased, it did not come with the CPL, so I also picked that up, which again, it came separately, but I needed it. I've been shooting a lot more scenes through windows recently, and anyone who's done that knows how unpredictable reflections can be. Change that camera angle just a little bit and you're gonna get a new reflection. And honestly, it paid off way sooner than expected. I bought this set in September and it saved me a few times. So here's a little story time as to how this filter's already saved me. I just wrapped the first block on a multi-million-dollar TV show. There's a big crew, tight schedule, lots of eyes on absolutely everything. And we had to shoot through the windshield of an old school Ford truck. And the reflections were pretty tough. We had a 20 by 20 ultra bounce and some negative fill that helped kill the crew reflections, but there were still some unwanted reflections that were still showing on camera. Luckily, I remembered I had this kit in my backpack. I threw on the NiSi CPL and it saved the shot. We were able to cut through all those extra reflections, see the talent clearly, and get the take we needed without burning time or money. Now, if I didn't have that filter on me, that scene probably wouldn't have as much impact. The actors' faces wouldn't have been nearly as visible, and instead, it turned into a non-issue. Hopefully that helped this green B-cam operator look a little more pro just by having something like that in my kit ready to go.
Now, obviously, I have mostly positive things to talk about the JetMags. There are two things that I've found while shooting with them that I don't like about this kit. Number one is the locking position is very easy to turn past. So you really have to make sure that the notch or the tab on the filter is lined up with the white line of the filter thread adapter. If it moves past that or in either way, it's no longer securely attached. So you have to really watch that. Number two was very specific to a shot that we had on that TV show that I've been talking about. And that was when we were using the circular polarizer. I think, and I don't know, I haven't done enough testing, but I believe it was the issue with the windshield on the picture car that we were shooting had a weird tint to it. And all of a sudden, when we adjusted the CPL, we got this crazy purple tinge on the windshield, which obviously didn't work for the shot. And we had to find ways of just putting up a whole bunch of neg fill to get rid of the reflections, and we had to shoot it that way. But those are the only two things I didn't like about it, so it's pretty great otherwise. So who am I recommending the NiSi JetMag system to? Well, honestly, I'm gonna say absolutely everyone and anyone who shoots video or photos. I think for the price and the quality that you get for that price, it just can't be beat. Obviously, there's Freewell and the Helix Maglock from Peter McKinnon and a bunch of other filter systems. But what I've really been impressed with the NiSi JetMags is just how well it handles highlights, handles flaring. The coating that they have on this kit is just bar none. And I was able to take these out to Greenland with me. I took them living on a schooner for 10 days and they didn't fail me. Even with saltwater spray and iceberg adventures and hikes, I was able to capture everything and never worried once that these weren't going to be able to handle the elements that I was throwing at it. So if you have any questions about this filter system, leave them down below. I do my best to get back to everyone I can. Even if they're not all that nice, I'll still get back to you. We can disagree. It's cool. My feelings won't be hurt, but I don't know. I've talked you guys to boredom. So we'll see you next week.